Good morning. Whoa. Good morning and welcome. I'm Chris Hill, General Sales Manager of WBZ News Radio. I want to thank you all for coming this morning to our WBZ Business Breakfast. We've assembled a great panel to talk about building your business in bailout times. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce Senior Vice President, General Manager of WBZ News Radio, and CBS Radio Market Manager, Mark Hannon.
Thank you, Chris. Welcome to everyone here. Great turnout. This is an event that we're really excited about, and we're even more excited about the fact that registration closed out, so that tells us that you're excited as well. WBZ News Radio 1030 has covered New England and the stories of New England for better than 8 decades. And as we look at today's headlines, and all of you know this, there's just nothing that's seemingly good out there. $1 trillion debt, bank and automotive bailouts, healthcare reform that continues to be negotiated in Washington, unemployment just went over 10%, and the economy has been so sluggish for quite a long time now. And that seems to be the focus for everyone. So as we contemplated what our subject matter would be for this breakfast going forward, we decided let's focus on positive, let's focus on what's uplifting, and let's have a local focus on businesses that are flourishing in this very difficult time. So we put this panel together. We're very excited about it. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce Anthony Silva. He is our co-anchor of the afternoon news and the editor of New England Business for WBZ News Radio 1030. Anthony.
Thank you, Mark. You can tell the radio guys we're the ones with the ties. How are you? It's great to see you all here this morning to this business breakfast. The Cambridge Trust Company, WBZ Business Breakfast. We want to thank Cambridge Trust for being our title sponsor as we take a look at building your business in bailout times. The truth is, I'm always a fan of alliteration. A little history here. WBZ has been putting on business breakfasts for about 15 years and always covering topics of immediate importance, a real extension of what we do every day on WBZ. And they have always been free. They've always been open to the entire business community. And I want to thank each of you for taking the time today out of your busy day to be here for this event. And I hope that you walk away with lots of ideas, lots of enthusiasm, and lots of inspiration for your own businesses. Besides welcoming over 600 of you today, we are also streaming this event live on the internet right now at WBZ.com. Now, the video will be available for at least a year on our website, along with the WBZ Business Breakfast with Richard Branson, Katie Couric, and our 2 higher education business breakfasts. You may have heard Richard Branson, who was our last business breakfast speaker. The youngest person to ask a question, that occurred at our last business breakfast, and a 12-year-old in a 3-piece suit said, "Mr. Branson, I'd like to show you my business plan." And he called him up. How many of you were here for that? That was a great event. Wasn't that great? Well, he's partying hardy down in Florida. Virgin America just expanded into Florida, and he does know how to throw a party, as we do too. Now, I want to take a moment to point out that we are welcoming a large number of young people here today. 20 students from Fisher College are here after one of the brightest students, that's my observation, heard about this event on WBZ News Radio 1030 and talked to the associate professor, Karen Myers, and managerial communications therein. What about having a class down at the business breakfast? Where are you? You're here someplace. Come on, let's hear. Come on. Thank you very much. Right here. Thank you very much for being here. We really appreciate it. This morning will be a morning of ideas, innovative ideas, challenging ideas, sometimes tough to hear ideas. We've all been there. We know what the environment's like. Each of our speakers represents what I think is the leading edge of innovation in their respective businesses. Whether it's totally shattering the old concept of renting a wreck with a couple of missing hubcaps, brewing the best beer in the world, and then, not just that, but keep pushing the envelope for new ideas, new products, pushing the upper end, or being a national competitor in retail music and clothing, and watching your national competition crumble around you. Also, our fourth speaker is a former aerospace engineer, Fortune 500 executive, software entrepreneur, and he was actually offered $50 million for one of his companies. Would you please welcome to the stage David Court Murray, Jim Koch, Scott Griffith, and Mike Drees. We had to put a lower table in here because the camera work. First of all, thank you so much for being here today. It's really a pleasure. And the way the format works, and those of you who have been here before, we will discuss their companies, some of their ideas over the next 45 minutes or so, and then we'll open up the floor to your questions. Please, I'd like you to think about your questions and make them concise so we can move through as many questions as possible as we move through this morning. I guarantee this is radio, so we'll get out of here right at 10 o'clock. And we all agreed that we will talk about our individual companies, talking about challenges and our successes and what has worked over the last couple of years. First, let's turn to our master brewer, our world traveler, and now our TV star. I always see you on TV, Jim.
You need a TiVo.
I know.
You can get rid of this.
Oh, no, I enjoy your commercials. I really do. You've told us that your brewing family has gone back 5 generations. And what led to your decision to open a brewery after seeing what happened in your family for 5 generations? I heard a rumor that your father turned to you and said, "Jim, you are crazy."
It wasn't that polite. Yeah, he told me I'd done a lot of stupid things in my life, and this was the most, you-know-whatting stupid thing of all. But my father was a brewmaster at a time when the little breweries were getting gobbled up by the big breweries, and the whole industry was consolidating. And it's a process that continues to this day, because today 95% of the beer made in the United States is made by just 2 companies, both foreign-owned. And that, in a way, created the opportunity for what I'm doing, because as it became a mass market and mass produced product, it created a very small opportunity for a niche beer. And that was my idea, is I would make what they were not making, which is very rich, flavorful beer, and give it to Americans fresh. And nobody was doing that.
You still innovate. You're innovating as we speak. I remember our last interview, Jim was walking through the oldest brewery in the world, dating back to 900?
Yes.
Was it 900 in Germany? And you've just signed an agreement with them to brew a special type of beer. Where have you found the ways and means to innovate, even from the beginning, when you were just building this business?
Well, a lot of it's just, what do you want to do? Particularly as entrepreneurs like we have up here, by nature, entrepreneurs and most small business people are sort of restless and inquisitive. And, you sometimes get tangled up in all the day-to-day stuff. But what I believe is the value that you add to your business is in the ideas. And so, I try to avoid all the management type stuff. Even in the very beginning, I thought, well, we've got to work really hard to sell the beer, and we've got to make great beer. I won't worry about stuff like, withholding taxes and FICA. Because if we go broke, nobody will care. And if we do okay, I'll have 6 months to hire an accountant. So it worked out.
I know you have said that you've counseled others who want to be in business. Make sure that your idea is viable, that it's viable not just in your own mind, but in this economy. Did you know that about your own business?
Yeah, I used to be a management consultant, and so I helped big companies deal with new businesses. And I had a very simple rule that I told them. Look at your product, and you got to ask yourself very brutally, is this better than the alternatives, or is it cheaper than the alternatives? And if it's not either better or cheaper, you don't have a viable business. And the size of the viable business that you have is determined by the number of customers for whom your product is better and they care about better, or is cheaper and they care about cheaper, and you're never going to be any bigger than that.
Each one of you exudes enthusiasm about what you do. I mean, Jim, I've seen you speak a number of times. We've interviewed many, many times.
It's beer, Anthony.
I know, I understand.
It's supposed to be fun.
We were just talking, I'm sorry there are no free samples of Boston beer
he made
or
me
Sam
do this
Adams
sober.
this morning. But I put an idea in his head, maybe a morning Boston beer drink. I'm not sure what it would be. But maybe we can work on that.
No, we have one. Actually, we, for our employees, I mean, you were talking about innovation, and people innovate. So we, every year, have a homebrew contest for our employees, and about 90% of our employees actually make beer. We give them kits, they make beer. There's an incredible variety of it, and one of the finalists was an IPA with orange juice and coffee. It was pretty good.
Sounds good. All right. Is there such thing as too much enthusiasm for a company that is either just starting or going to the next level?
In a way, there is. I mean, you can't have too much fun, and you can't enjoy what you do too much. But as entrepreneurs, we all tend to be optimistic, and that's a good thing as long as we don't forget about you got to have cash to stay in business, so you got to manage your cash very well. And you also, particularly as a small company, and we are, despite the relative success of Sam Adams, we're only 0.8% of the U.S. beer market. We're not even, I mean, my goal is to get to 1%. That would be huge. So, you can't afford all the waste that big companies have, and you have to be, just brutal about stripping out excess costs that really don't contribute to what your mission is.
Excellent. Well, we'll continue the conversation, and we want you to continue the conversation as well.